Alright, so today we're going to go over my solar generator box here. I've wanted one for a while, but I can't afford to do something like a Gold Zero. They're just far too expensive. So I had some stuff laying around and built my own. Obviously, I had to buy some extra stuff as well. The outside of the case is just an MCM Electronics weatherproof case. I think you can get these on Amazon for $30 or so. Pretty basic, just Pelican type knockoff. I do have some holes drilled in it for cable pass-throughs. This box was originally used to do a portable repeater project using a radio that was capable of doing crossband repeat. And I really wasn't using that anymore, so I ripped all the foam out of it and built this solar generator into it. On the lid is where you're going to be using most of the stuff. I've got my connection here for my solar panel, which just uses the standard SAE connection. And everything on here is switched. I did not hook up the little lights for the switches. I just felt like that was a waste of power. I really didn't need them. I can feel them or look at them and tell what setting they're currently on. But everything on here is switched. So the input is switched for the solar panel. My 12 volt and USB outlets are also switched, so I can turn them off if I don't need them. Example is these USB ones over here do have a small LED light. While that's probably not a big draw if I'm not using the USB side, but the 12 volt side, I really don't need the USB side on. This voltage gauge over here, this voltage meter, is hooked to a momentary push button. Just push the button down, get what you need for voltage, and then you can turn it, just let it go, turns off on its own. Got my mic holder there for my ham radio, which is inside this box. On the back side, I do have a master on-off switch. I just kind of wanted some kind of master way to kill the battery from the rest of the box. So when that's off, you don't even have power to the fuse block. Basically, the batteries are cut off from everything. So that's back on. It's flippy style covered switch. Open it up. See the mess I got going in here. So I've got three UPS batteries in here. You normally use these for alarm systems or backup power systems for computers or whatever. They're 7 amp hour batteries, and I got 3 of them, so about 21 amp hours of theoretical power on hand. The battery hold down is aluminum flat stock and aluminum 1 inch by 1 inch aluminum angle iron that I picked up from Lowe's or Home Depot, one or the other, and then just cut and drilled it as I needed it. The aluminum, I've picked aluminum because it's very easy to work with at home. You don't really need any special tools to bend it, and it's light, even though this thing weighs a ton, and light's not really a theme with this box, I guess you could say. I do keep a set of an LED rope light in here. This one rope light can provide light for the whole camp if I need to. I've got other ones packed elsewhere. This one's actually starting to get a short in it, so I'm going to have to replace it. I've got a 375 watt power inverter. There's nothing fancy about it. I don't really have much of anything that needs 110 volt power, so this rarely gets used, but I do like to have it around. And 375 watts is enough to run most of anything I would have out there. I've got a double-sided male 12 volt cord, so whenever I'm going from campsite to campsite, and obviously I'm not going to run the solar panel, I can just hook this into the Jeep. So you just hook it into your 12 volt outlet here, hook it into the 12 volt outlet on the Jeep, and it charges off the Jeep's charging system while you're going down the trail or down the road. I do have a few items that I can run off of this, but it's pretty rare I use it. It's just I wired up my own female to female 12 volt adapter. My little cheap Chinese radio charging base. I very rarely have to charge those, but when I do, I just charge it off the case. Little extension cable to get out of the box for external antenna. This is this hooks up to my ham radio, which is right there. Nothing real fancy about this. Everything's 12 volt. I do have my fuse block down here. I bought this one originally thinking I was going to wire a lot more stuff into this box, and I didn't. But I've got room to expand. You got your ground bus over there, and then your power outlets over here, which are fused. And then I got my ham radio. This used to be the ham radio I kept in my Jeep. It's a Yaesu FT90. Pretty nice radio, and the reason I kept it in the box after taking it out of the Jeep is it's got multiple power settings. So it'll go anywhere from 5 watts to 50 watts, and there's like 4 power settings. So I just keep it on low. 5 watts isn't a big draw, and you can run it a long time off these batteries if you need to. I tried to do as much of this stuff in conduit as I could. There's some areas where obviously I won't be able, I couldn't do that. More conduit down there, conduit there. Basic 12 volt charge controller. I bought it off of Amazon. I'm not sure how much. These batteries are 20 bucks a piece or thereabouts. The case does weigh a lot. In fact, I'll go get my fish scale here in a second and we'll weigh it out. But it's a pretty hefty box, and most of that weight is in the batteries. These are just standard sealed lead batteries. I would love to go to lithium batteries, but to replace these 3 batteries would run me about $300. I think in this entire case, there's not $300 worth of equipment. I had the wiring, I had the radio, I just had to buy batteries and the outlets and the charge controller. All that stuff was relatively cheap. I do have a 50 watt panel to charge it with. This is kind of a bulky panel, and I'm not a big fan of it. It's just a cheap one I picked up off Amazon. It's really not enough panel for this box if you're really burning the power up out of it. But I can always hook the box up to the Jeep and charge it as well whenever I'm going down the road. I am on the lookout for a thinner or maybe a flexible 50 watt panel that I can hook onto here, but this works fine for now. Even though it does have this bulky frame on it, it doesn't really take up too much space. I guess I could break the frame off of it. Haven't really ever looked into that. So let me repack this. I'll go get my fish scale. Alright, so I just went and got my fish scale and weighed it real quick, and it is pushing about 30 pounds. Let's try that, see if I can do this without dropping everything while I'm holding the camera. Yep. 30 to 31 pounds. Not a light box by any means. The moving to a lithium battery would save a lot of weight, or just taking one of the batteries out. I probably don't really need 21 amp hours of reserve capacity. But it's there. I've got it. I think I overbuilt for my needs. I could dump a battery out of there and save myself quite a bit of weight, but I'll leave it like it is for now. I don't carry it on the motorcycle, just in the Jeep, and I'm not really constrained for weight in there. Anyway, if you got any questions, post up. I'll answer them as best I can.